Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers. It's time for the Lakers. Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers. It's time for the Lakers. Right on to the real, much love to these haters. It's time for the Lakers. It's time for the Lakers. Man, what is happening, my YouTube family? Of course, it is your boy B New. I am coming at you on this Wednesday. Happy hump day to everybody. And first and foremost, as always, just want to send out positive vibrations and blessings to anybody who could be listening. And we all know the Lakers definitely need some positive vibrations because yet they fell again last night with another loss. And we're going to get into the topics, of course, and break down the game, of course. But, you know, a lot of people think that I tend to harp too much on Frank Vogel and his coaching. But yet again, we saw some crucial mistakes by Frank Vogel again last night, who had his 30th lineup changed last night. And everybody just keeps saying, oh, he's a great coach. Oh, well, Frank Vogel, why? He seems to have the media people in his pocket because he can do no wrong to the media for whatever reason. Somehow it's not his fault. So nothing is his fault. So if that's the damn case, how about let's just get rid of coaches altogether? How about let's get rid of coaches altogether? So let me just ask y'all this. Jason Kidd, who was on this very same coaching staff, who the Lakers denied a head coaching job to basically because of his background or whatever, even though he had already been a head coach of Brooklyn and of Milwaukee. Now, Jason Kidd currently has the Dallas Mavericks, in the top 5 in defense. Top 5 in the Western Conference in record. So what is going on with the Lakers coaching? Oh, well, it's the personnel. It's the personnel. Again, I'd say look at the personnel. Everything is not always personnel. It's about philosophy, execution, motivation, and leadership when it comes to coaching. And it seems like he has none of the above. He continues to never drop a good play out of timeouts. His rotations are always terrible. And before I get into that, now I'm going to go ahead and get into that now. So if you think about it, last night down the stretch, what lineup was making headway to get the Lakers back into the game? Which, of course, we know the Lakers started small. So when you had Austin Reeves on the floor with Malik Monk and LeBron James, you were making a headway for getting into the league with the Stanley Johnson. And one good move that he did make last night was not playing Trevor Ariza at all. And Bazemore even came in and gave some nice minutes, which I wouldn't mind seeing a little more Bazemore while Bradley is still hurt. And, of course, AD is still out. If he can be consistent with his three-point shot, which he has the capability of, and he plays decent defense. Years ago in college, he was his conference defensive player of the year, so we all know he's capable of playing defense. And he got a little bit of grit and attitude about him, too. I think he picked up a tech last night, if I'm not mistaken, which that's not always the best thing, but sometimes you got to voice your opinion. And I'm not going to even get into how terrible the game was officiated yet again, even on the crucial play where the ball went out of bounds, and they replayed it, of course, and it was off the Lakers. But they wanted to jump ball it because, of course, they should have called the foul. And they realized they didn't call the foul because LeBron James was fouled. And as a result, he couldn't get a handle on the ball and it went out of bounds. So it resulted in the Lakers turnover. So, of course, the Lakers still aren't getting the same calls when they go into the hole. Time and time again, Powell was getting calls for Dallas on barely, minute contact to the hole. But the Lakers weren't getting the same calls on the other end, and I don't want to make excuses for them regarding that. But what I do want to say is, the Lakers could have played better. And going back to Frank Vogel, and what I'm trying to say about Frank Vogel is, why at the end of the game, in the starting lineup, you got Westbrook, Monk, THT, Melo, and LeBron to end the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game without Austin Reeves. But think about it. THT was a minus 13 for the game. And was higher than that at one point. THT was a minus 13 for the game. Austin Reeves was a plus 7. But you didn't have Austin Reeves, who was in your starting lineup when the games was close, and who was in the game when you were coming back. But yet Austin Reeves played 19 minutes? 16 minutes was a plus 7. But THT played 33 minutes. 33 minutes for THT at a minus 13 But Austin Reeves, along with LeBron James, who were the only two starters that were that high of a plus, LeBron James was a +7 and Austin Reeves was a +7. Now you might look at the stat sheet and think, well, Austin Reeves only hit 2 points, but Austin Reeves was playing defense and making things happen. Austin Reeves was creating havoc on the defensive end of the floor at most points during the game when he was allowed to play. He has a great knack for getting to the ball and creating pressure on players to try to create plays, and he will not allow them to take him off the dribble. I mean, maybe a couple times a game. I mean, you're not going to play perfect defense, but damn, as a rookie, I think he plays phenomenal defense. So that's your replacement for Caruso right there. And Caruso wasn't even a starter. KCP was, but at the end of the day, I like Austin Reeves starting. I wouldn't mind him and Malik Monk together. If Malik Monk can ever get, and he blew a couple of shots, you know, down the stretch at the rim that just wouldn't fall, layups that really would have won them the game. But the thing is, the Lakers, got outscored 13-2 in the last, 5 minutes? They came back and had a 6-point lead, and people want to say they ran out of gas. They didn't run out of gas. Let me explain to you what happened. For those and if I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong, but this is just my humble opinion. What happened was, you had LeBron James playing in the 5 spot. Now, he's already your leading scorer and leading rebound while he's sitting up here playing 5. So he's 37 years old, and he's playing exasperating basketball. So then, at the end of the game, you have Carmelo in here, which, okay, that's fine if you want to roll with Melo, but what you should have did, if that's the lineup you want to have, even if you felt like you had to have Westbrook in there, who was a -8, and I don't understand why you put him in to close the game. If you benched him before in the past and you really wanted to win this game and not stick with the lineup that brought you back, was when Westbrook was on the bench and you had, actually THT was in that lineup for some time when Westbrook was on the bench with Monk. But THT didn't bowl so well when on the floor with Westbrook. But then again, who does? But my point is, at the end of the game, you should have had Malik Monk in. And if you did want to have Westbrook in, you could have had Westbrook, Monk, Austin Reeves, Stanley Johnson, and LeBron James. Because if you insert Stanley Johnson into the game, when you put him at the 4 spot and you still want to play semi-big, I won't call Carmelo a true big, but put him out on the wing at the 3 spot, then you have somebody who can guard Bullock. And what's that other boy that was lighting the Lakers up last night? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Damn it. Name's just right on the tip of my tongue. It'll come back to me. You know who I'm talking about. And he was hooping. He hurt his ankle for a minute, but he came right back and did his thing. THT hurt his ankle and came back and did no thing. That was the difference. But my point is, had you inserted Stanley Johnson into the closing lineup with Austin Reeves, then the Lakers would have won that game, in my opinion. Because when LeBron was playing the 5 spot, it wasn't that Luka was calling for LeBron. It's because LeBron is already exasperated on the offensive end. So now you get caught in the switch. When you get caught in the 4-5 switch and you got LeBron now guarding Luka, had it been Stanley Johnson in the game, then you can have Stanley Johnson get out and guard Luka. And Stanley Johnson is great lateral movement to keep Luka in front of him. And that would have been good on the switch, and that would have gave LeBron a break. But he got to do the heavy. You want LeBron to do, at this age, at this point in his career, do the heavy lifting on the offensive and defensive end, where LeBron was smart. He read the scouting report, and he forced Luka from going right, and he made him go left and fade away, and Luka just made a better shot. At one point, LeBron did good. He got up into his body. There wasn't a call. Luka played through contact. He got around LeBron, and he made a better play. Sometimes better offense is going to beat good defense, and you cannot expect LeBron James to be able to stop Luka Dončić time in and time out. And the coach is not putting the players in position to be successful, because if he was smart, like I said, he would have had Stanley Johnson in the game to handle that on the switches, where he could have guard Luka. And then you could have had Austin Reeves, who has the size enough to deal with Reggie Bullock in his own right. But instead of and you know, you had Westbrook out there, but if you didn't have Westbrook, then you still had choices. We'll see. Now that they signed Augustine, will he get some playing time as he passes physical? It's just a crying shame that the Lakers don't have none who I think would have played a big role in helping the Lakers win some games this year, and help have an additional ball handler and an outside floor spacer for them. But that's spilled milk, and you can't go crying over it, because obviously that man might not never play. He might not ever play the rest of the season from a bruised knee. I just don't get it. But that's something you got to be careful with, and just hope that the Lakers, they not getting the 8th spot, y'all. They not. They lucky if they get 10. They're gonna have to win 2 play-in games just to get into the playoffs. They did show last night that they can play defense. They showed it in the 3rd quarter, and people say they ran out of gas. No, he changed the lineup. He changed the lineup. Why have THT in the game at the end instead of Austin Reeves, where he said, okay, THT, in Vogel's defense, he said he was playing good defense, but if you look at the stat sheet, he had the highest negative in the whole game at a -13, even higher than Westbrook, who was a -7. He started the game pretty good as far as his offense, but then in the second half, he didn't come back after he had kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit. He didn't come back and do too much. And if you see it's not working, and the Lakers, you go up by 6, and now you're losing this 6-point lead once you bring Westbrook back into the game, then why not change it and do something about it instead of sticking with the same thing and looking damn stupid? Now, Monk did blow a couple of shots at the rim. It just happens. That's just the way it is. One play when LeBron was coming down, I think the Lakers were still up by 2, when I felt like LeBron should have forced the issue and got to the rim in the transition, but instead he's kicked it over to Reeves. Not Reeves, but kicked it over to THT for an open 3, and he missed it. And the Lakers missed a lot of open 3s, but of course, from 3-point land last night, they did shoot 41%, which is pretty good, 14 out of 34. And then they held Dallas to 29%. Luka didn't even get 1 3. He didn't even make not 1 3-pointer last night. And you tell me Luka doesn't make 1 3-pointer, and you would think that the Lakers would win the game. But they did not. So now the Lakers had their rematch against the Clippers on Thursday, which would be an important game because, of course, we know the Clippers are holding on to that 8th spot. So the Lakers do need to win that. But the way the Clippers are playing right now, you just don't really see the Lakers getting into that spot, which I think it would be good because then they only have to win 1 game. And if they did lose 1 game, then they would still have a chance to secure the last seed by winning another, if I'm not mistaken. This play-in is still new, but I'm pretty sure that's how it is. The 9th and 10th seed got to win 2 games. 7th and 8th seed win 1 game. And then they locked in. So at the end of the day, the Lakers showed that they can do it. And the third keeps saying the same thing. They cannot keep having quarters where they play so well and then just have quarters and then in the 4th quarter, you don't even show up. In the 4th quarter, you don't even show up. It just, to me, is a blemish for Frank Vogel at the end of the day, because he still does not seem to be able to get his rotations right. He steadily, this your 30th lineup change. It's not all because of COVID injury. I mean, you this damn late into the season, only 22 or 23 games left, and you still don't know a rotation. And it's like I was saying on my last show, you should really be able to know when you're coming in, when your rotations are, to develop some kind of consistency from the players, and they know. Some players like, damn, am I even playing tonight? They don't know. And that's how it is with Frank Vogel. They don't know. They need to know, okay, I'm a starter. That's what I am. I'm a starter. I'm going to play into this many minutes into the game, and then this is who is about to come in for me. And these are roles, responsibilities, and assignments of each player. And you see that all throughout the league from anybody, except for the damn Lakers. And if somebody can tell me how a coach got 22 games left in the season, and I know you're dealing with injuries and AD out, and you still just throwing out any damn body, and you haven't keyed into who the hell you want to play with and win, then you better be a smooth-brain ass individual. And that's exactly what Frank Vogel is. And it's a miracle to me that he still got a job, and they just feel like, well, there's only a little bit of season left, but I guarantee you somehow in the offseason he is going to get fired, and he should get fired. And he should. But anyway, I'm not going to keep harping on that, because I'm sick of it. SICCUD. Sick of it. Yeah, I'm country. But anyway, man, this is always, man, right on to the real. And much love to these haters, man. I'm about